I'm Kelley Norton and I'm your AZ Realty lady. I help people relocate to or within the Phoenix area. And a lot of people ask me, what is the traffic like in Phoenix? So my video today is going to be me explaining what I feel it's like to drive around in the Phoenix area and surrounding areas. But also I've turned the camera on a few times when I've been in the car and giving you kind of a first-hand feel of what it's like to drive around in rush hour and even when it's not rush hour, just to give you a feel of what it's like on our freeway systems. So let's go ahead and get after it right now. Hi, I'm Kelley Norton, your AZ Realty lady at EXP Realty. Count on me for all things Arizona real estate. Okay, so again, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kelley Norton. I'm your AZ Realty lady, and I am a 20-year real estate agent and a Valley native. And I help people that look to relocate to or within the Phoenix and surrounding areas. So today, traffic. Okay, well, when I grew up in the Valley, there was just, it felt like much smaller. I mean, we didn't really have all the freeways that we have. We had the I-10 and we had the I-17. And then they put in the 51 freeway, which goes through the pretty much north and south, straight from the North Valley to downtown Phoenix. So it kind of connects that North Phoenix area and downtown Phoenix. And then you have the Loop 101 that I want to say that came in sometime in my 20s. So we won't tell you how long ago that was. But the Loop 101 freeway kind of stays around on the outskirts of town to connect the East Valley, the North Valley, and the West Valley. And it really crosses over from the 10, it crosses through the 51, and then it crosses over both of the 202s in the East Valley. So if we're talking about the 202 freeways, in the East Valley, you have the 202 Red Mountain, which is the 202 that's furthest north. And then you have the 202 that is the Santan 202, and that one is further south. So if we're starting from the north, we have 202 Red Mountain, then the US 60 is in between, and then further south you have the 202 Red Mountain. And the 202 Red Mountain and the 202 Santan actually do loop around and are the same freeway once you get to the East Valley over near Ellsworth on the US 60. That Santan crosses over and turns into the 202 Red Mountain. And as you're heading west, it connects over to the Loop 101. So just to give you an idea of what freeways there are. The I-10, that is the major freeway, the biggest one that we have and is also the busiest highway that we have in town, and also is the biggest for commerce. You have a lot of trucks that drive on there, and I always joke with people, if you want a new windshield, go ahead and drive on the I-10. Lots of semi-trucks. You do tend to get rocks chipped up into your windshield pretty often when you're driving on the I-10. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. So your busiest freeways that you can expect, I would definitely say during commuting hours, it's going to be that I-10 near the downtown area. So really my top choice for worst freeway traffic is definitely going to be that I-10 Broadway curve. And so that's going to be near downtown, and that's the curve that takes you I-10 between the 202 and the I-17. Now the good news there is that they are currently doing a Broadway curve project, so they are trying to make that area flow just a bit better so it's not as congested. But what I've heard from my clients that moved from California is that is nothing compared to the traffic that they're used to. So even though for me, I don't like it, if I have to sit my car in traffic for even a few minutes, I get irritated because I'm so used to just free driving out here in Arizona. So again, this is kind of in that downtown area, but you will find some congestion, especially in the mid to late afternoon, evening, and then the morning hours as well. So you expect there to be traffic there. So if you work downtown, there's really no way to avoid it. You can try and take side frontage streets, you can try and take side streets, but really you're going to end up in the traffic. So maybe you just get used to that, or you get an all-electric vehicle and take the HOV lane. But you're still going to have a little bit of the traffic anyhow, even if you have one of those vehicles. The other one would certainly be the large stack and the mini stack. So those are two areas, again, towards that downtown location. So let's start with the mini stack first. So the mini stack is basically on the I-10 between the 51 and the Loop 202. So you get a lot of traffic there that's going from the North Valley to go towards the east or towards the west. So they have to use that little mini stack. And if they're on the 51, then they're going to be making a decision, you know, as they are heading north or south, whether they're going to go east or west. So and then from the I-10, you have to make a decision if you're going to get on the 51 and continue to, like, let's say you're coming from the south. So if you're on the I-10 is going to curve towards the West Valley. So you want to make your decision if you're going to go west or stay on that 51 and go north. So it's the little mini stack where everything kind of crosses over and you have to decide which freeway you're going to merge onto. And the 202, of course, Red Mountain, that'll take you to the East Valley on the northernmost area, like Mesa and Tempe. So that's the mini stack. Now, the big stack, so the big stack, this is the I-17, the I-10, and the US 60 interchange crossovers. So when I am listening to the news in the morning, this is where I hear the majority of issues. It's either the Broadway curve, there's a delay, or there's an accident, or there's a delay at the stack. And when they say the stack, that's what they're talking about. The I-17, the US 60, and the 202 all, the I-10, I-17, and US 60 all interchanging and crossing over. So you do tend to get some traffic there as well. And again, this is going to be necessary if you're trying to go from east to west. You have to cross over through downtown area. The good news is that they are really trying to alleviate some of the traffic, and as more people move here, it seems like there's always construction, and it's because they are trying to make the highways just a little bit better for you, and those freeway areas that get congested. So they are working on those. So that's, of course, I think a positive to look forward to. But we'll have more people coming, and they'll just have to keep doing it. So if you're a civil engineer, job security is always there here in Phoenix, for sure. Now, a couple other spots that tend to really get congested, definitely the 101, I would say from Shea, I would say south to about the US 60. So if you're trying to travel on that between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m., might even start as early as 7 a.m., you're going to hit a little bit of traffic there. Sometimes it does slow down to a crawl. But it's not near as bad as being in that downtown area, but you do tend to get a little bit of a slowdown there. Also in the evening time when you're going the opposite direction. So then in the evening, if you're heading towards the north and you're between that US 60, the 202, and say Shea Boulevard, you tend to get a little bit of a slowdown there. And as you stay on that Loop 101 and you curve to head west, you do tend to get a little bit of a slowdown near Pima, Scottsdale Road, and as you approach the 51. It's usually not a full stop as long as there's not an accident, but it does tend to slow down just a little bit as well. So let's talk about the I-17. Now the I-17 is the highway that's going to take you to Flagstaff, to Prescott, completely out of state. You can take that Interstate 17. And the I-17 was actually ranked in the top 5 most deadliest highways back, I think, 2 to 4 years ago. And it's a specific stretch of that highway, and that's going to be the part that's between the Phoenix area and the Flagstaff area. So as you head north out of town, it does get kind of winding. There's a lot of semi trucks that are on that road, and for some reason people just drive like jerks on the I-17, and they're coming around corners and turns, and people will cut you off, and and it's a blind turn. I mean, there's so many accidents on that highway, and I feel like they can definitely be avoided if people just don't drive like idiots. But unfortunately, people do, so you have to be really careful with that. But that can be a really terrible backup almost every weekend in the summer. If you are trying to come back from Flagstaff, Prescott, Sedona, and it's late spring or middle of the summer, look out. You are probably going to be stuck on the I-17 at some point. There's an area that's near the junction where you have Cottonwood, where there's Prescott, Camp Verde, and where that interchanges, you just get a lot of slowdown, especially if the 87 highway in Payson, which is much further east, if that's shut down for an accident, then everybody funnels over to the I-17 through Camp Verde. And when they do that, it is just horrible. It can take you from Flagstaff to Phoenix. It can take you 4 to 5 hours to get home. So just keep that in mind. If you want to get away to the cooler weather, you want to head up north, you might want to plan to either come home very late on a Sunday, very early on a Sunday. And early, I mean before 8 a.m. because 9, 10 a.m. it's already too late. There's already congestion. Because you have to remember, people can't, when they camp, they wake up, the sun, they're ready to go. They start packing up, eat breakfast, and they're on the road by 9. So now they're in the middle of that I-17 by 10. So you want to just keep that in mind. Leave really early before 8 a.m. or if you're heading home on a Sunday, I would leave after 8 or 9 p.m. I know that sounds late, but it's a lot better than being stuck for 5 hours. A lot of cars overheat, and there's really nowhere to go. Sometimes you're stuck where there's guardrails on all sides. You can't even go anywhere if you have to go out and go to the restroom or something. There's nowhere to go. So just something to keep in mind. That is definitely a dangerous stretch, and it can be very, very congested in the summertime. And if you're looking for a place to go that's a little cooler, where you don't have to be in so much traffic, you do have the option of going east towards Payson. So to get there, you would just go out Shea Boulevard, and that's from the 101. You take Shea Boulevard east, and that's going to end at the 87. You take the 87 north, and that's going to take you right to Payson. Occasionally, there'll be a little bit of a backup there again in the summer if there's an accident, but it does not get slowed down every single weekend like the I-17 does. It's only if there's an accident you have a problem there. So you have options of cool weather. It's those two outlets to go to Payson, or go straight north to Flagstaff, Prescott, and Sedona. But the highways there on the I-17 are definitely going to be more congested for you. Now, as far as the West Valley, man, that I-10, when you're heading out far west, I feel like it doesn't matter what time of day it is. It could be 3 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon. But when you're heading west, there's a lot of traffic that you hit. So if you're out in far Buckeye, if you're out Estrella Mountain Ranch, you're going to hit a little bit of it. But if you're Buckeye or you're far west, you're going to be in some traffic. It does not flow well. It always seems like there's something happening and there's a lot of traffic. So I have videos. I think I turned the camera on when I was heading out to Verrado one day, and then I went ahead and filmed that. So I'll go ahead and show that for you just so you can get a feel. I wanted to pop the camera on here real quick. Sorry for the messy old windshield, but I am headed out towards Buckeye, and this is one of the definite negatives of being out so far west. If you do have a commute from downtown Phoenix or anywhere that is east, you oftentimes will get traffic here on the I-10. My maps just notified me that there is a lane closure, which is why we have this traffic, and it's been kind of stop and go here for about a half mile so far, but only going about 10 miles an hour at the moment. So being that it's over 20 miles from downtown Phoenix, you oftentimes can get in traffic like this. There's only one way in and one way out on highways, and that is the I-10. And it is a Thursday right now at 2:30 in the afternoon. And I'm heading west towards Verrado, towards Buckeye. Now, if you live in an area called Anthem, which is north on the I-17, about 20 minutes out of town, You will hit traffic in the morning coming into downtown Phoenix from the Anthem area all the way to the south on I-17, probably all the way down to the I-10. So that can be a little congested as well. And then in the afternoon time, then it's of course the opposite direction. So heading north from the downtown Phoenix area on the I-17, heading towards Anthem, that can be a stretch that's a little bit slow as well. Now the 51, you can certainly get a little bit of a slowdown again as you head towards that mini stack, which is that 202 I-10 51 interchange there. So you can hit a little bit of traffic in the morning going to the south, and then in the evening going north. But it's only for a couple miles. It's really not that bad. So my overall opinion of our traffic is it's not that bad, especially for having as many millions of people as we have here. It's crazy that there's so many more people coming here, and the traffic is still so much better than other places in the country. So if you have any questions about what your commute might look like from where you're thinking about moving to and where you think that you have to work, please let me know. I'd be happy to go drive that for you, videotape it for you, just to give you an idea. So again, I'm here to help you in any way that I can. I'm Kelley Norton, and I'm your AZ Realty lady. Please, calling me or texting me is the best way to reach me. You can of course always email me, but it seems like the email gods don't like me very much because emails sometimes don't make it through. But I try and answer my phone all the time that I can, and I definitely text you right back if you text. So phone and text is definitely the best. I have my information here for you, and I look forward to meeting you. Take care.